It's not easy surviving in Fairbanks. You know, a lot of people come and think that a little bit of summer makes it worth staying here. But in the wintertime up here, it's a real hard life.
Our weather conditions are going to slowly deteriorate as you get into December and January and February. Those are the toughest times of the year.
There are a lot of people who have a real hard time adjusting. You know, when winter moves in Alaska, it's dangerous for everybody. Nobody's immune, but you know, for a recovery driver, it's basically a 4-month gamble of seeing if you're going to make it through to the other end alive.
Veiled by pristine beauty, Alaska remains poised, perpetually threatening to unleash a battery of erratic and often deadly weather patterns on Fairbanks residents. And in December, the darkest days of the year are met with even more polarizing extremes.
Weather in Alaska is it's its own entity. It is a living, breathing thing. And what makes it dangerous is one day you wake up and it's raining outside, the next day it's 25 below zero, the next day you got 3 feet of snow. You just don't know what's happening from minute to minute. It just changes that quick. And when the sun goes down, you lose the one advantage that you have up here. Now you've got a shroud of black laying on top of you. In the winter in Alaska, that's definitely the time that I get busy. A lot of people get a false sense of security and think that they're in control somehow. But, you know, it's just a dumb move because at the end of the day, Alaska always is in control.
With roughly 1 state trooper for every 650 residents, Fairbanks emergency crews are stretched thin during the winter, leaving many recovery specialists to step up as first responders.
When I get a phone call, I'm not just going out there to save their car. I am there to make sure that people make it home safe. We all have families to get home to. I do everything I do with the thought of my little girl, my wife, and my now soon-to-be baby. We're about to have another one, so that is what I care about. Come here. Ugh. No, that's not how you hold a baby. That's how you hold a baby. I love it. I was born up here and traveled down to the States a little bit, but I've always called Alaska home. I started the company in 2011. There was an accident, and I remember coming through it, and you could see the marks where the kid had hit going through. And I kind of wanted to do my part. I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. Lucky 7 Towing, this is the best way I can do good.
You want to be home?
Today, tomorrow, the next day. Running this business, it's not like just, you know, running a cookie store. You know, this is me against Alaska, and I've got no one on my side. But when I start weighing the thought that this morning when I kiss my kiddo goodbye, that might be the very last time she sees her dad, I would be crippled, you know? I can't think about that. It's our job to make sure whoever we're saving is safe, period. We all know what the risks we're taking. We all know the job we're doing. At the end of the day, we all want to make it home just as bad as we want the people we're pulling out to make it home.
Ice will accumulate on roadways impacting travel. Drivers urged to proceed with caution.
While winter retains a crippling hold on the region, residents are forced to face the radical conditions head-on. For Bob Weaver, owner of Ron's Recovery, December marks the time of year when residents are most vulnerable.
I was born and raised here in Fairbanks, and I started at Ron's in 1975, 1980. I started running the show. There's a great satisfaction in taking care of somebody that needs help. It makes you feel good. We really are the biggest tow company in the Fairbanks area. We employ 14 guys. One thing you can expect from winters up in Alaska is the unexpected. If you're gonna live here, you gotta learn how to get through winter. You don't wanna just sit and wait for summer. I mean, my family, we go to the lake together. We go snow machining together. Personally, our family is everything. So everybody can't stay home every day just because the weather's bad. People still got to go to work and do the things they've got to do. A lot of times that's when they get in a fix and need assistance. Hey, Scott, come on in here. Hey, I got one in the river for you. Yeah. We got a call from a rental company about a Jeep in the Chena River.
Stretching for more than 100 miles, the Chena River slices through Fairbanks and is shrouded with a history of instability, especially during volatile Alaskan winters.
The weather not only dictates the volume of the calls we get, but also the priority of those calls. You know, the river changes constantly. It can have been 30, 40 below for 2 weeks. That doesn't mean that that river's solid. It has pockets of thin ice, thick ice, and you just don't know exactly where that is. You know, when I was a kid, there wasn't even a 4-lane highway, you know, in Fairbanks. It was so much quicker to cross right at the ice bridge. The ice has become more unstable, and those ice bridges are not authorized roads. They're not roads, so they're shortcuts. So if you want to gamble and go over that shortcut, you can. You could get yourself in a world of hurt, you know. So I don't know how far out in the river he is or how bad it is. All right.
Go take a peek.
Okay. I am a little bit of an old-fashioned boss because I just tell people what to do and they don't get to decide if I'm right or wrong. They're going to have to do it. I've got a pretty darn good crew, and I'm really working hard to try to make sure those guys come back home to their families. Scott's been with us for a long time. He's our master mechanic, and he's one of those guys, you give him something, he never screws anything up. And so I sent Scott out because anytime you're doing a recovery on a river, the ramifications to doing something wrong, can be pretty intense.
Alaska boasts the highest drowning rate in the nation, with 300 fatalities in the 5 years leading up to 2012. And Alaska's wild rivers account for more of those deaths than ponds, lakes, or even oceans. Despite the dangers, many intrepid locals are drawn to these frozen rivers, which act as ice bridges, providing a quicker alternative to the already hazardous roadways.
We're heading out to Chena River just to take a look at this guy. Every year somebody goes in. Hopefully we won't have to get a diver to go down and pick him up. We'll just have to see once we get there.
Like so much of Alaska, the Chena River Ice Bridge is entirely unregulated by authorities, and residents are warned to enter at their own risk.
Looking for his Jeep or some tracks going down the hill, one or the other. A lot of people try to make it across. It's not frozen enough. Let's go out and see what we got going on here.
The driver wisely fled to safety, but the running Jeep continues to radiate heat onto the already fragile ice, and Scott is left without the security of a second set of eyes.
Yeah, it's definitely dangerous. I mean, you can hear it cracking right now. Nothing but mush out there.
Ice should be at least 8 inches thick to safely support the weight of a vehicle, and half that for a human. But thanks to weeks of erratic temperature swings, menacing soft spots litter the surface of the river, threatening as portals into the punishing current below. Any additional weight could spell disaster for Scott as he inspects the vehicle on the edge of the already fractured ice.
Yeah, we'll just probe the ice, see how deep it is. So it's pretty deep.
At 32 degrees, the Arctic water swirling just beneath the fragile surface poses a lethal threat. But the deadly temperatures are not the only concern.
This is a flowing river underneath here, and if you go in, there's no exit holes to come back out of, and you get underneath that ice, you're dead. I don't want to be the one calling the shots here. Let the boss do it. I'd rather have his expertise out here than me.
Scott calls back to base.
Hey, Bob.
Recognizing that any attempt to recover the vehicle on his own would be flirting with disaster.
I've got a couple people at our shop that, I trust immensely. Scott says he's concerned about the stability of the ice. When he's concerned, I need to be down there. I'm going to take Jay with me just so we have another set of hands out there. Safety comes first. I don't like to micromanage, but I like to have my fingers, on the pulse of things so that things get taken care of properly.
We got frozen in there, or is it just sitting on the edge?
It's sitting on the edge.
Anytime you're doing a recovery on a river and the weight of the vehicles, pressing on the ice, you don't know if it's right on the verge of more ice breaking away or not. If one of your guys was to go under that, they're not coming back up.
With the crew's safety in mind, Bob's first approach is to pull on the Jeep from a safe distance, keeping his guys as far from the fractured surface as possible.
Okay, let's do it.
Uh-oh. Got the truck standing.
The river proves too powerful as it clutches to the sunken Jeep,
Got this truck standing straight up.
nearly flipping the winch truck in defiance.
You never know until you start pulling on it how it's going to act, but it's being a little bit of a booger right now. We just want to get lower to the lower side a little bit more so we can pop it up out of the ice a little bit,
Believing that the rear tire of the Jeep is snagging on the ledge of the ice, Bob resorts to a bold technique that will test the fortitude of his crew.
What we're going to do here, cut out some sections of the ice behind the vehicle on the right rear there. Try to push the ice down underneath and make an ice ramp to pull the car out. Lots can go wrong, and when it does, usually it's not good.
Between 1990 and 2010, nearly a third of all people who fell through ice in Alaska were killed.
You don't want to go much past right in here.
Reinforcing the importance of staying above the surface at all costs.
Wrap this around Jay so he doesn't fall in the river.
I expect a lot from my crew, but I worry a lot about their safety. Nobody's ever died on my watch in the 40 years that I've been there. It's been a lot of close calls, and there's been a lot of times that our people have ended up in the hospital. What I'm worried about is if it gets too unstable, the whole Jeep, everything could fall in the water, and that would probably take Jay and Scott right on down the river.
It's December in Alaska, and turbulent weather patterns have Fairbanks residents on edge. Positioned on a patchy stretch of ice atop the frozen Chena River, Bob and his crew work feverishly to revive a sinking vehicle before the looming darkness sabotages conditions further. But a close call acts as a chilling reminder that the vehicle is not all that's at risk.
So we're standing above a death trap. The longer you're out on the ice, the more pressure that's getting pressed down on it. You never know when that thing's going to break away. I just wish it would just stay stable there for a second.
Oh, pop out.
It's not one to come out.
Seems like the more you pull with the right winch, the more it's,
We've got to get that out of the lower side there. When we get out to work these accidents, you don't get to just hope that things are going to be okay. What are you thinking, Jay? You got to have a plan. And if it doesn't work out as you start on it, you have to have the brains to stop that plan and start a new plan. I'm going to call for another truck. I don't like the way it's teetering, so. Hey, Alex, we do need, get somebody to come out here with 8-7, okay? There's a great sense of responsibility for your crew. You want to see those guys come back just the way they left, safe and sound. Sometimes you want to just take a deep breath and do everything right so that, the outcome is real favorable. One's on the way. It'll probably be about another 10-15 minutes, and we'll see what we can do.
Temperatures will climb during daylight hours. Residents are advised to avoid travel on waterways.
Bristled with more than 365,000 miles of savage, ice-laden waterways, Alaska's rivers extend their hostile grip across the farthest reaches of the Arctic frontier, posing a threat for all who dare to venture across.
In the wintertime up here, we have so many people every year that think they can go across the ice because they've heard of other people doing it. And they don't have any clue that that ice doesn't support every rig out there. I mean, that's the way people are up here. Nobody's going to tell Alaskans what to do or how to do it. The people that live here test the limits all the time. Boreal's Towing. Originally born and raised in northern Minnesota. The military brought me here back in '74, and I loved the hunting and fishing and things like that. Fairbanks in the summertime is warmer than any place else in the state, and then having darn near 24 hours of daylight is pretty sweet. We just got a very short summertime. The people really do, when they come here, they underestimate the wintertime in December. And it's our job to go out there and get those ones that get stuck in a ditch or get into accidents. Do you have any idea where you're at or approximately? And what are you driving? I've been towing for 15 years. We see so many bad things. Weather up here is really unpredictable. You never know when that temperature's going to change. So on those river crossings, they usually go through sooner or later. But everybody's got to test it, see if they can get across the river. And you just watch, something bad will happen. We'll get down there as quick as we can, okay? Just watch first, bye-bye. If you go off and you're unprepared, it can definitely kill you. Stacy, I met maybe 10 years ago. She is a really good employee. We can handle everything as long as she's in her truck and I'm in mine. I'll follow you, Stace. We got a call from a guy that says he's a trapper that drove off of the dike, which is south of Pega Road. There's a lot of people that trap for a living. They've got to go to places where other people can't go. And you got to take risks to be able to do that, right? Which means crossing rivers that you don't know for sure just how frozen they are. But that's a risky business. Every time you've got all these things that go through your head on how hard the recovery is going to be. He says he's on ice. I hope he's not. That's really dangerous, because if these went through the ice, 30 below flowing water in Fairbanks, Alaska is not a good idea.
As Ken and Stacy close in on the vicinity of the veteran trapper, road conditions deteriorate, and the threat of nightfall creeps closer with each fleeting moment.
The Tanana Flats are always a bad spot. That's always a rough place to get back to, especially with the flatbed. We know he's down here somewhere, but we're not sure where. The road's getting pretty rough now.
Oh, where the Nothing's marked out here. Oh, man, this looks like kind of the end of the main road.
What do you think, Stace?
I don't know which way to go.
Does it look like you can go down there?
With deep snow stretching onward in every direction, Ken makes a risky decision to abandon his two-wheel drive flatbed.
This can't do anything for us, so we're stuck strictly with your truck. We couldn't go any further with the flatbed, so we jumped in the four-wheel drive Ford, went down this really weird little trail.
With only faint tire tracks as a guide, Ken and Stacy must rely on their instincts to direct them through the remote pass.
Oh, it looks like tracks this way.
You can see this in the summertime as water. It's not really a road at all.
Four-wheeler trail. Where
He
the
said some
are we
water,
going?
so I assume that he's
Oh.
going to be somewhere on the right-hand side.
It's been 25 minutes since the initial dispatch, and still no sign of the stranded trapper.
If your engine stops running out there in the cold and it's 30 below, it's probably going to take you 10 minutes and you're going to start freezing to death.
Here's the river.
Here's the river, so he's got to be here somewhere.
See him.
I don't see him either. Oh, there he is.
I see somebody in there, I think. Hello? Oh, he is there.
He's in the truck, isn't he?
Battered by weeks of violent temperature swings, roadways and waterways across central Alaska continue to punish residents with volatile conditions, and rescue crews are out in full force. It's 30 below at the Tanana River, and Ken and Stacy track down a veteran trapper who crashed off a ledge while rushing to salvage his snares before nightfall.
I see somebody in there, I think. Hello? Oh, he is.
He is in the truck, isn't he? Hey, you okay?
I'm glad you got here.
I bet, huh? It's cold out here, isn't it?
Oh, I've been here a long time.
There was a truck just dipped off the edge. Luckily, he was still okay.
Yeah, it was -30, and I was out here freezing in my truck just trying to stay warm.
He was lucky it just went off the little hill and had to be recovered. But, I mean, if he would have went into the water, that would be even worse.
He said he's been out here for an hour. This guy's a trapper, and this truck is his livelihood, so there's no room for error. Now we've got to get up on the flat ground without doing any damage.
Determined to avoid driving onto the ice, Ken and Stacy will attempt to recover the truck from atop the ledge. But an uphill winch-out promises to cause much more resistance.
Okay. Let's give her a try.
Come on, baby. Is it stuck?
Well, it's stuck on the frame. The frame is on the frozen dirt. Try it again. The hardest part about getting the pickup truck unstuck was the fact that it doesn't take much to pull us backwards.
At the moment, the trapper's in our truck, getting warm, but I can't really say that it's any safer in there than out here.
Every tug jolts Ken and Stacy's rig closer to the edge of the riverbank, endangering their safety, as well as the victim inside.
Watch out!
Holy.
What can we do? We don't want to get sucked back into some place that we can't get back out of. So when our truck starts to slide, then you got to change things around so you can hold ground better.
It's just not budging it.
Yeah. So we got to pull ahead then, don't we?
By repositioning their truck, Ken and Stacy are able to leverage a new angle.
Stacy, the other wheel's up on the bank now, so we're almost out.
Allowing them to dislodge the stuck vehicle.
Hurry up! We're good to go.
Well, I was going to check my traps. It just picked the wrong spot to go to the flats. I thought I was doomed.
All yours, boss.
Can't afford to do that again.
Thank you,
You
man.
have a good day.
Everyone struggles up here in December because the conditions are unforgiving. People rely on their vehicles as a survival tool. To know this guy made it out in one piece and can salvage his traps is the best result you could ask for.
Arctic weather system moving in this evening with lows of -40 degrees in some areas.
5 miles west, Bob and his crew have a precarious hold on a Jeep that hangs partially submerged in the icy waters of the Chena River. Fearing the instability of the ice beneath, Bob switches gears to ensure the safety of his crew.
There's one. One's here. We found the need of actually having another wrecker come on out there just so that the front end of the Jeep wouldn't go further into the water. This Jeep, it's in good shape right now, and we don't want to do any damage to it, but you got to kind of weigh that with risk of jeopardizing somebody's well-being. We're going to hook one truck sideways on it up here so we can keep the thing from tipping anymore. Anytime you're doing a recovery on a river, a lot of things can happen, but it still needs to be done. So you just overcome those obstacles, you get up and do what you got to do before something goes wrong. We got that thing out of there with a little cutting, and the way that all turned out, you couldn't ask for any better. Sometimes it's hard to be the boss. You got to be ready for, taking care of yourself and making sure nobody else gets hurt either. You continue to learn yearly. Things change, the weather changes, road conditions changes, and you got to have some fortitude because it's tough. I try to lead by example. I think a lot of people that's worked for me over there have learned the key to surviving is be safe. Do everything exactly the way you're supposed to do each time. And if you do that, focus on that, you'll last a lot longer. These guys are going to end up with a nice little glacier here if we don't get it out of their parking lot. We're going to go home.
Hazardous conditions will develop by 5 p.m. and continue through the evening.
"20 below, and James closes in on the location of a young hunter who broke through a frozen slough while out shooting 18 miles outside of town.
Oh, good Lord. Ah. Yeah, it's a bad thing about being out here. Every goat trail looks like the next goat trail. Oh, son of a bitch. Said he was stuck in the water. It's a good shotgun shot away, man. Definitely out there a lot further than one should be when they're dealing with that kind of situation. Man, we are out here, man. It's not like I've got an address to go off of, you know, but luckily I've spent enough time out here myself. I got a pretty good idea where this guy went in at. He said he had to walk through the water to get out of where he was at to make the call. So he's sitting there wet in a rig that don't run. You know, it's freezing out here, and in a normal situation, hypothermia sets in quick. But, you know, this guy's got wet feet. This guy seriously could be in some big trouble. Not that long ago, we had a guy had gotten stuck on the ice. The ice cracked, and he went through, and that was it, you know. And I hear the word water. I treat every situation like this person will never be seen again. Oh, good Lord. He's got water all around him. That'll be loads of fun. Let's make sure he's all right here. You all right?
My boots are logged.
Oh, man. All right, hey, can you feel your feet still?
They're pretty cold.
All right, man, just stay in the truck. Give me just 1 minute, man. He's definitely encased in water. There's no way that he can get out without going through the water, and it's going to be quite a treat for me to get to him. He's shivering real bad. His speech is slurred. This is not a good situation right now.
In cold water, the body loses heat 32 times faster than it does in cold air, which can induce hypothermia in just minutes. And with daylight fading, James must move quickly if he hopes to recover the young hunter before Alaska casts an icy fate.
Problem is, where he's sitting on this ice patch here, if he tries to get out, there's a high possibility he's gonna fall. If he slips in this water with as cold as he is, there ain't no way in hell we're getting him to the hospital fast enough. All I'm worried about right now is getting him out of this water. That water is cold, man. Come on, baby. Get you warm, man. Oh,
At 20 below, it's a race against the clock for James, who's rushing to rescue a young waterlogged hunter already exhibiting signs of hypothermia.
He's shivering real bad. His speech is slurred. Come on, baby. Got him up pretty much all the way up onto the bed. Come on, come on, come on. Started to get him out of the water. And that's when I looked over. I felt the whole truck start to drop. I realized my front end was coming off the ground. So I had to correct it quickly by dropping the angle of my bed back down. Luckily, I didn't go into the water. With him being in the truck, this definitely could have gone a lot worse. Number one priority is getting him out. All right, boss, good, hop out. There was definitely some hypothermia setting in. Go ahead and throw this on. Just hop in the cab of that truck. There's a heater on the floor. We're gonna get you out of here, man. Sun going down. Temperature's gonna start dropping right with the sun. We don't have much time to get him out of here. I mean, look at it. We just pulled the truck out of the water. Tires are already iced. That's how long it takes to freeze out here. We're gonna get you out of here, man. We got him out. He seems to be all right. He's getting warm in the cab. Lucky 7 had the luck again tonight. it was another successful run.
I'm really glad that James could make it out here. If it wasn't for him, I might have been losing some toes. I'm really thankful for him coming out here and saving my butt.
You can't hide from winter in the interior. You know, it's just one of those things, you just gotta face it head on and trudge right through it. If I can save one person, it makes every moment worth it. I chose this profession to do that, you know, and that's, if I just get one, that's one more than I would have if I hadn't tried.
Black ice will accumulate on roadways. Residents are advised to stay indoors after 5 p.m. Alaska Standard Time.
Around Fairbanks area, it's a dangerous place. Yeah, you don't get off days. The roads are unforgiving. You know, you might drive to work in the morning and it's fine, and you turn around and you're coming home and it's not fine. Anybody, even good drivers, could get in a bad way. It's a constant battle for us. Got to be on your game. We got a 95 Dodge pickup, lady in the ditch. We got to get right on this one. She's not liking the situation they're in, huh? Take 6-7 on that, okay?
All right.
All right, good deal. Hey, use flares if you need to use flares.
All right.
Okay. Every single day, I worry about the other traffic on the roads running in to our cables, running into our trucks, or running into our people. The nightmare is somebody getting injured, and all that's happened. I preach all the time, you know, safety comes first. Ultimately, there's going to be problems.
Bob is a very hands-on kind of a boss. If it was up to him, he'd be able to do it all himself. But Alaska is a big state. It's impossible to knock them all out by himself. With that being said, when calls come in, we have to get out on it and actually use the training that Bob taught us.
Racing against the fleeting sun, Juan has 13 miles of remote wilderness to cover along the Parks Highway before he can rescue a Fairbanks mother stranded on the roadside.
The Alaska weather causes more of the problems than anything. You know, whichever way, you know, Mother Nature wants to take us. If she wants to give us a cold weather one day and then give us rain the next day, we really can't control it. It is dangerous. But if you're from here, you gear up, adjust to the situation, you just drive on. We are looking for a 95 Dodge pickup that's in a ditch right around mile 349. The one thing I love about recovery is being there, showing up, giving them all the comfort, assisting them with everything possible. They're happy to see you no matter what. I hope she keeps her vehicle running just so she can stay warm. The vehicle ended up being turned the other way around, actually facing towards the road instead of away from the road. And then once we got there, the scenario changed.
"13 miles outside of Fairbanks, along the frozen Parks Highway, Juan arrives on the scene to discover that the stranded mother is not the only victim.
You guys okay?
And each moment spent along the snow-swept road leaves both mother and child exposed to potential disaster.
When there's a child in there, it's one of those time-pressuring things that we want to speed up just a little bit, just to be safe. We really don't want nothing bad to happen to the infant. It does make you want to work a little faster, but also do everything in the right manner. What makes the Parks Highway so dangerous is other people driving. It always has that black ice. Too much traffic on both ends of the road. Trucks on the Parks Highway can't hit their brakes. Their load will actually start to fishtail with them, and then once that happens, they lose total control. So I'm actually gonna try to see if I can square myself off with the vehicle. We actually got to be very vigilant of where we're at and how we actually extract the vehicles. Bob kind of preaches, you would have to watch your back. Not only, your equipment, not only the vehicle you're extracting, but everything that's around you. So it's like everything's just kind of flickering all at the same time.
Once establishing a safe angle, Juan inspects the vehicle to determine the fastest way to get the mother and child to safety, only to encounter another stumbling block.
Well, as you see here, the tire is completely off of the bead, and with that being done, we can't air it back up. One other curveball. In Alaska, everyone's vehicle is kind of like your shield. A lot of people depend and rely on their vehicle to get to work, to take them to the grocery store, getting them back home. Yeah, getting her vehicle back on the road, safe and sound, it's everything. All I could do is get the snow out as much as possible. I'm not trying to be on this side of the road too long. The dark creeps in actually very quick in Alaska. Nice, bright, sunny, and then just starts to go dim, dim, dim by the second. Next thing you know, it's, completely dark. You can't see nothing. And once it gets to that point, it is dangerous. Worst case scenario is if the 20-minute flares burn out before I'm actually able to extract the vehicle, we're just sitting ducks. Kind of get the wheel turned to the right.
To the right.
It'll just roll right up. We have to get the tire changed. Not only cold out for them, but also for the person doing the work, because it does kind of take a toll. This is my workout for the day. Alaska's dangerous in many ways. The cold, the snow, the ice, the wildlife, it's a whole new ball game. How did she do through the whole little roller coaster ride?
Just a kid, she rolls with it.
That's the best way to do it. It's just a good feeling to know that, the mother and child can get back on the road. Even on my worst days, the reaction that I get from them looking at you and smiling, it's like, it's a good feeling.
December, it's a tough month. It's a long month. So daily, you never know what you're going to be up against. And I worry a lot about the crew's safety.
All right, man. I'll see you in the morning.
But when the guys go out, save people in need, and they get home to their families, that's when I know I've done my job.
Deep freeze conditions remain in effect until 11 a.m. Wednesday.
As darkness settles across Alaska's boundless terrain, James outlasts the ever-changing elements and kicks his efforts into overdrive to rescue a disoriented young woman in distress.
We got a call. There's a lady that's backed herself into the snowbank a bit. The biggest issue with them is when they back up into them like that, your exhaust is now covered. It's all blowing in your car. If they don't get out and clear their exhaust pipe, clear the snow away from it, it's going to just build up. Carbon monoxide poisoning, it's a pretty serious risk up here.
A silent killer. Carbon monoxide was responsible for nearly 150 hospitalizations across Alaska in less than 20 years, 35 of which were caused by vehicle exhaust.
Most people don't stop and think about that exhaust and where it's now going. Just slowly builds up, and before you know it, you're like, I'm a little bit tired, I'm gonna take a nap. And that nap turns into coma crap, and that coma turns into death, and it happens way too fast. When I'm on the phone with them and try to make sure they know they gotta scoop the exhaust pipe clean, but her phone, she's pretty far out of town, the cell reception out there is terrible. That was the last thing I said before the phone went dead, so just, it's gut-wrenching. I think I see her. The car's definitely on. Her lights are on, so I don't see any exhaust. Ma'am! Ma'am! Ma'am!
After fielding a call from a woman stuck in a snowbank, James launches into action, fearing that a blocked exhaust could expose the young victim to deadly fumes.
I think I see her. Ma'am! Ma'am! Holy Jesus God, you gave me a scare. Whew. Backed into the hole there, scared the crap out of me. Thought maybe your exhaust had backed up into there. Whew, you okay? She gave me quite a scare. I knocked on the door and there was no response. She was sleeping. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull you out. If you want to, you can go ahead and hop in my truck, get warmed up while I'm pulling you out. That scared the holy crap out of me. Holy shit. I definitely thought I was gonna be making a call that night that I didn't want to be making. I'm all well and fine when my lights are the ones blinking, but when I got to bring in an ambulance and police to deal with a dead body, that's a night that you don't want to think about. All right, man, we got you pulled out.
All right.
If you end up backed up like that again, just kind of make a quick walk around and just double check and make sure your exhaust is open. And definitely don't fall asleep, because that just makes us terrified.
Well, it's pretty cold up here, so I didn't want to get out of my car. I was pretty shocked to realize that I could have possibly died from carbon monoxide poisoning. You gotta be cautious up here. It's just as dangerous inside your car as it is outside.
Apparently I scared her as bad as she scared me, but that one got me going, that's for sure. There's definitely days when I come home from a long run and my wife hugs me a little tighter, and I know that there was definitely that worry there. Any dangerous profession you're in, you have to kind of forget about that side of it and just do what you do. It seriously is a game of chance up here. However you want to look at Alaska, bottom line is, the winter in Alaska is here to put you down. I'm just here to fight the battle and keep people alive.